W²AV Talk with Demetris Curry. Here's your gateway to discovering the formula to a more gratifying life with the accountability you need to start and stay energized, inspired, and on top. Author and wealth strategist Demetris Curry is a nationally leading voice and go-to authority on insurance and financial literacy. Got questions about your finances, relationships, healthy living, or professional life? W²AV talks about it all, along with tips to enhance your overall well-being. W²AV Talk with Demetris Curry.
Hello, everybody. This is Demetris Curry coming your way, and I am so excited today to be talking to one of the most amazing authors I've had to talk to so far. Let me tell you, W²AV Talk is about finding out more about the experts behind the scenes of what they're doing. And we are focusing in on Authors Unite, okay? Authors Unite are pulling together authors all over the globe to find out what prompted them to bring this particular book of work to the masses and even get to know them personally. We want to get to know the author personally. So this is a great opportunity to learn more and more about, those books of work that you love and that you've read and you've had a chance to study, maybe meditate with, maybe learn something new with, and how did that expert bring that to the forefront? So today we are talking to none other than Mr. J Spratling. And I'm excited to bring him on because just looking at everything that he's done in the industry, he's actually in the same industry as myself of finance and banking and wealth management and trying to make sure that we help the masses on changing what has happened in their lives to a much better, brighter future in their finances. So let me stop right here and bring on Mr. J Spratling. Jay, are you there?
I'm here. How are you?
Hey, how are you? Thank you so much for spending time with us today. I'm so excited.
Sure. Same here. Excited as well.
What I would love to learn from you today, and I know that you're a busy man, so I'm like, look at here. He's giving me good 15, 20 minutes of his time to talk about all of his accolades and things like that. I know you have a long leg list of things that you've done in the community, but we really want to get to know you, the person, and what prompted you to bring out this book of work to the nation. I mean, such an important piece of art, and I just really would love to hear more.
In regards to what prompted me to bring the book about, I actually had a really good friend that passed away from cancer a couple of years ago. And he was an author, business person, and he always asked me to pen a book. And, I didn't think much about it. I'm a worker bee, so I just kept my head down and kept working. But with his passing, that prompted me to, I guess, put everything on paper that I've learned over the years. I've had so many people that have poured into me, and my background is a lot different from most, being the way that I went through finance, wealth management, corporate banking, business, and things of that nature. I've learned a ton, and I'd be remiss if I didn't put it on paper and pass it along to try to help somebody else. So that's kind of sort of where the book came about. Do as I do, not as I did. Just a way to help some people that want to go into business. If you really want to go into business, avoid some of the pit stops, just think some things that I did. So avoid some of those mistakes.
Right. And you actually telling people about some of the things that you did wrong and how to do, better choices or how to make better choices. Sometimes we as advisors, we get into the whole thing of we hear so many stories and we're like, what is going on? What's going on behind the scenes there that's making you go that direction or even create those type of, over and over again mistakes? Why is that prompting your life? So I thought that was amazing that you were able to pull that together, put it out on paper, not only what we do on a daily basis, but also give them a guide. And I think that is just amazing. Outside of what you're doing in finance, what drives you? What drives you?
Yeah, I come from really, a humble background. Didn't have much when I was growing up. And I promised myself that I would do everything I could to change my trajectory. Education is that's the leveling field. Once you gain education, knowledge, and how to do something, nobody can ever take it away from you.
Got that right.
So college was extremely important to me. Graduate school extremely important to me, and learning from as many people as I could, and soaking up as much knowledge as I could, even if it was something that I didn't want to hear at that particular time. Sat back, stayed quiet, soaked it in, because at some point the tables may turn, and you be like, hey, they were probably right, and you can use that information that they partook in you. Mm-hmm.
That's right. That's right. And I see that you had the opportunity. Well, you could have gone to Alabama State University, but they didn't actually have the major that you were looking for. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. I started. It was a little short story. On my last day of high school, 17 years old, I was sitting there, hadn't picked a college to go to. I mean, nothing. Something clicked and said, you don't have enough knowledge to go out into the world. Mm-hmm. So I started applying, for some schools that would let you apply late. So Alabama State University let me apply, late. Got accepted, and I went there maybe three semesters. And the major that I wanted to major in was economics. At that time, you don't see a lot of, even now, you don't see a lot of African American people that major in economics.
Right.
And I was working part time, at the bank there, and the president of the bank, his major was economics. Mm-hmm. So I said, hey, if I want to be the president of a bank one day, maybe I should major in economics.
Okay.
So I chose it as a major. Alabama State University didn't have that as a major, and it would have taken me just way too long to finish, just by the way they gave the classes. So I transferred to Auburn Montgomery, where they did have a strong economics department. And that's why I got my bachelor's degree. Yes.
Yes. I took all of my economic courses at Alabama State and Alabama A&M University, and graduated from Troy State University. So
great.
Sometimes you have to move around to get all the courses that you want.
You sure do. You sure do. Most definitely. You definitely do.
Absolutely. So that's just amazing. So tell us, what are you doing right now? What are you doing? Mm-hmm. What kind of pieces of work are you pulling together right now?
Yeah, well, in the business realm, I've been a business owner for approximately 16 years. I own several companies. My main company, Corporate Facilities Management, just started that one day and began to grow it. It's a facility maintenance company. We do janitorial, floor care, and facility maintenance work from Ohio down to the Florida coastline. We have in excess of 100 plus employees. And under that umbrella, we have a security company, which is its own separate company, landscaping company, pest control, sprinkler system, fire extinguisher and sprinkler system company. Okay. So anything that our commercial clients need, we can funnel that through one of our sister companies and get it done for them. So that's the umbrella that we have there. Mm-hmm.
And that's with the CFM, right? So CFM security, CFM security system, CFM pest control,
CFM loan, exactly.
Mm-hmm. CFM loan services. Yeah, exactly. Look, brand that name.
Right. Exactly. That's what we're doing.
Brand, make sure you put a stamp on that name. Okay, that's how you do that. I absolutely love it. Love it. So tell us about your family. I know you have a family, your wife, Miss Frederica, as well.
Yes. That's correct. Yeah.
Tell me about it.
We'll be celebrating our 23rd anniversary on May the 1st of this year.
Okay.
Met her there at Alabama State University. Have two lovely kids. My daughter, actually, her 18th birthday is tomorrow, Jasmine. She'll be turning 18. As she says, I'll be an adult tomorrow, Dad.
I don't know how far that's going to go, but okay.
Not far at all. Right. And my son, he turns 15 next month. He's into sports and working out and school and all that good stuff. So, that's
Big into football.
Most definitely.
I see you got the football behind you. And my son is 13. So he's a wide receiver and a safety. So I know I'm in that football
mom.
I'm that football mom right now. But I'm like, don't you hurt my baby. I will take off the business hat and put on the mom hat in a minute and
run on the field.
Baby.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Well, you're doing wonderful things in the community. I'm so excited to see what you're doing. To see what you're doing, and then to know that not only that you're helping them in one area of management, but to also allow them to bring all pieces of business that you can help them with in areas, other areas. And so that's just amazing. We may have to collaborate on some things. I see so much stuff out here
Right.
that we could do together. We have some new
Most
stuff
definitely.
that's coming out, but we'll talk about that later because today is all about you. But I, but I do want to chime in on some of those things because I was listening to you. I was like, that may be something that can help him and his people. So we'll talk about that
We
later. But
can. We sure can.
it's just amazing that just being in this industry, and just me myself, I started off in the nursing industry. I never thought I would be in business,
Sure.
but
Mhm.
when I took my economic courses at Alabama University, and then said, hey, I don't really like this. I don't want to do that for a major, but I do love banking and finance. I like counting money. So I changed it just a little bit to focus more so on the finance and banking side of the house. So,
Sure.
but yeah, and now I'm in the commercial. It's interesting.
Very much so.
Real estate side. So yeah, it's around to what we can do in this industry to help other people, and to pull back the layers of things that people didn't tell us
Right.
when we were getting started and what we didn't know. And I made a lot of pitfalls. I don't know about you, but I had a lot of pitfalls.
Exactly. And I mentor a lot of people as well, a lot of business owners. I mentor them, and I pour back into them. And I tell them, I said, don't just seek one person to talk to, seek many people. But if you meet somebody that says they've never made a mistake and they've done everything right, pack up your bags and start running.
That's right.
Any good business owner, they will tell you they've made mistakes. I still will make a mistake. Mistakes with an S on it. But they're learning lessons. As long as you learn from them and don't do those things again, hey, it's not a mistake. I call those lessons, life lessons.
And I'm glad that you mentioned that, because I was just talking to a colleague this morning, early AM, and I'm really big about your Power 5. I'm really big about your Power 5 of who you keep around you all the time, who's in your ear. Maybe they're doing the same type of drive, the same type of grit that you have in the industry of trying to make sure that they're getting to their next level in their industry. And so that's important. Wouldn't you say that's important for them to really keep that intact?
Yeah, that's very important. The people around you they have to be trusted advisors. And one thing I want to note is that people always say, hey, somebody, I told them my idea, they're hating on me. Maybe they weren't. Maybe they were giving you their honest opinion. Maybe what you're doing really isn't viable. Maybe the stuff you told them, it just has no merit, and they're giving you their God's honest opinion, and that's okay as well.
Yeah.
If you have someone that's telling you everything that you want to hear, patting you on the back every single time, that's going to become a problem as well. You need that objective advice. You have to have a person. My mom would tell me, boy, you think that's going to work? You go back to the drawing board, you just scratch a line through it, or just rethink it, or put some more thought into it, and come back with something else if that's the case. But I tell everybody, I'm only one opinion. So if I tell you something you don't want to hear, hey, research it, go find somebody else if you like to. But that's all up to you. I'm gonna give you my opinion. It's up to you to use it or not.
And that constructive criticism.
Yes.
That constructive criticism, that's really hard to take a lot of times, especially when you're a perfectionist. And you're doing as much as you possibly can to, get something done. But if you don't know all the answers, be open.
Right.
Always be open to listen to someone that have gone where you're trying to be. Right.
Exactly. And like I said, listen to them, because if they're around you, they should be that trusted person, and you should trust and believe what they're saying. And it's not coming from a bad spirited place.
Right. I absolutely love that. I love that. Now, is that going to be part of the new book you bringing out, about the 5 people? Right? Did I just put a little a seed in there?
I need to start taking my notes. I'm making notes over here.
Did you just put a little seed in there? I tell you, some of the things that I've done, and I know that, you have probably years and years experience of being in banking like myself, right? How many years were you actually in banking before you decided to branch out on your own?
Yeah, about 14 years.
About 14 years.
Yeah,
so I was in banking about 25 years. Ooh,
oh, wow.
I'm telling my age. Ooh, don't tell nobody.
Started when you were a baby.
I started when I was about 3.
Bingo. Bingo.
So 25 years in the industry before I decided to branch out on my own right. And some of the things that you learn behind the scenes of being in banking that,
Right.
you are obligated to be, a employee of the business, correct? But at
Right.
the same time, you learn those 1 or 2 things that if a consumer really knew that
Man.
they could do, how much of a difference it could make in their lives, and just given that structure, right?
Mhm.
So that's
Mhm.
one of the things that we do now is, when we sit down with clients, we try to, give them a strategic plan and say, hey, let's look at your whole portfolio. Let's look at the entire scope. And once we figure out what's going wrong, then we can sort of
Right.
start pulling you in the right direction, right? So
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly. And
yeah.
that's what banking, it gave me that structure, and it gave me that background, because
Mhm.
me sitting with a commercial client, looking at everything that they had, the things they were doing right, the things they were doing wrong, giving them pointers on how to do things. When I
Mhm.
went into business for myself, I knew, hey, this is what you do. This is what you don't do. This is how you structure this deal. These are the tax implications of it. There's so many moving parts that go into it. If you start getting a couple of those things out of alignment, it's a recipe for disaster.
Yes, it
Um,
is.
and in
Mhm.
my business, it started off, and also being on the banking side, you look at it one way, but once you're in the fire of being a business owner, it's a totally different world.
It
And like
is.
there's a lot of catch up there that you have to do, and which being background in finance, and then working in the banking field and working with commercial clients, that pushed me eons past that starting point.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's like apples and oranges.
Yes, it
Apples
is.
and oranges.
It is.
I'm actually more so on the commercial lending side of the house. So I
Mhm.
actually work with over 80 banks and
Oh wow.
negotiated for the client. And when I'm negotiating for them, I'm talking to the direct lenders and the
Yeah.
wholesalers and the hard money lenders and the
Yeah.
traditional banks. And I'm like, look,
Yeah.
this is what it looks like. I've
Mhm.
already got all their data. I've seen their taxes. I've seen
Right.
their P&Ls. I've seen their cash flows. I've seen their
Right.
statements. And from seeing everything, I can tell you that this bank ain't gonna want to touch you.
Every bank has a different appetite. People think, hey, this bank turned me down, or they just don't want to do business with black people or Indian people. No, they just may not have an appetite for your kind of for your deal. Go to
Right.
somebody else, or your stuff may not be together. Nobody wants to deal with you. They
That's
have certain boxes that you have to fit, and that's fine. That's how they do their business.
That's right. That's
A
right.
bank is a
And
good
what I
facility.
found, and what I found a lot of times in working with some of the banking institutions recently, is that sometimes it may be out of their scope for the year.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Now,
They
I'm
just
heavily into real estate. I have a real estate company as well, and
Mhm.
some of the deals that I do, I have one bank. They said we can't do any investment real estate because the regulators are on our backside. It's not nothing against you. We want to do it. We can't. They won't allow us to do it. So
Exactly.
a lot of things you don't know that go into that mix.
Exactly. Exactly. But that's why they have us, Jay. I mean,
There we
come
go.
on.
There we go. There we go. There we
That's
go.
why they have us. So I'm
Sort through the weeds.
to sort through the weeds,
That's it.
exactly, and to go through and to walk them through the process. You
Right.
talk about franchise lending and real estate
Yeah.
and flips and Airbnbs and all that
Right.
stuff. And with all of that we do, it's like, hey, this could be a little bit more attractive if you
Hmm.
did A, B, C, D, E, F, G, right? So,
Exactly.
part of things that got me to this particular industry, and I know you have your own personal testimonies
Hmm.
of going through some really hard times
Yeah.
financially
Right.
to get to this particular point. Me myself, me and my family are survivors of domestic violence, and so
Wow.
we jumped back and forth between city to city, house to
Sure.
house, things of that nature, and just never could get our grasp on our finances. We're
Hmm.
constantly moving, you know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Hmm.
And so, when I started working in this area, we were losing family members, didn't have insurance,
Right.
family was tapping into their own bank accounts to try to put their loved ones away pretty nicely, that kind of thing. And after being a part of that for years of
Hmm.
helping to bury loved ones,
Wow.
that's where it actually started. Ding, ding, ding. Even though I'm getting a finance degree and a banking degree, it didn't really hit me in that way
Sure.
until I understood, okay, now they're gone and we're going to miss them. But now we're
Right.
even hurting financially as well because we're having
Exactly.
to dig into our assets and dig into our savings and try to
Yep.
help in that way.
Totally
And then it
understand.
takes years to repair. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right. Exactly. Totally understand that. And like I said, it's just that understanding. Like I said, once we get that education and something just clicks or goes off, we start putting things in place to try to change our lives, and also take that information and pass it along to our kids so they won't fall into that same trouble. And some of the family members that do listen, because every family member is not going to listen. The ones that do listen, you hope you can give them a little bit of the information to start to help them out as well, to start breaking some of these, say, curses or lack of information that a lot of people have. And like I said, knowledge is the key. Information is the key. So we can give as much back as we can. That's why with the book, I have a lot of different points and tips in there that people just read through, take, and the real world practical kind of things that hit everyday life of people, and people that want to start a business, then more so people that are in business that are saying, hey, I don't think I can make it another day. I don't think I can make it another month. There's certain things that you can do that can start turning that boat in the right direction and get you going to making money, or just being happy in the way you want to be happy.
Exactly. Now, I want my signed copy. I can go online and purchase, but
already done.
I want my signed copy.
Personalized signed copy.
Absolutely.
It's coming.
Thank you.
Okay.
And I promise I'll send you a copy of mine, Brighter Days Ahead. I will send you Brighter Days Ahead signed off to you. And I said, it's going to be fun. In our books, one of the things that we do is try to change lives and try to help and things like that. And so I'm honored, and I think it's a privilege that I'm now connected with Mr. J L Spratling.
And I'm connected with you as well, Ms. Curry. I'm connected with you also.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for spending so much time with me today and giving us the opportunity to learn more about you and your experiences and what brought you to this place and how you're actually changing the community one company at a time.
We're trying to. Most definitely.
I'm very, very thankful for you.
And thank you for having me. I greatly appreciate it.
So guys, here we are, another great author where authors unite. Mr. Spratling, he took out his time today, and with him being spread out between so many different companies that he has flourished with and blessed the world with, that he could spend just a little bit of time with us. I'm just so excited that he would do that today and give us some helpful tips on what we could be doing to change our lives financially, and to also make sure you go get his book. Okay. We need to make sure that you do not skip out on that beat. Some helpful tips that you can learn more about changing your finances, and also what you need to do to push through those days, those hard days that you don't think you can actually get past in your business. Okay. Once again, the name of his book is Do As I Do, Not As I Did. Okay. Make sure you go to his website at jspratling.com. We'll make sure we put that at the end of this video so you'll be able to get that information. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you. Have a great one.
Thank you for tuning in to W²AV Talk with author and wealth strategist Demetris Curry. Connect with Demetris at demetriscurry.com and subscribe to the Demetris Curry YouTube channel today.